is not what this year holds for you. The question is, what will you hold this year? Too many people repeat years instead of living new ones. They go around the same mountain, praying for change without producing change. The truth is, time does not make you better. Decisions do. Time itself is neutral. It is what you deposit in time to time that determines your return from it. If last year was filled with procrastination, excuses, and fear, then this year will repeat the same pattern, unless you interrupt it with purpose. You see, purpose gives time its value. When you know why you exist, every minute becomes sacred. That's why the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. Death only ends time, but purposelessness, living wasted. Before you set new resolutions, stop and reflect. Ask yourself, that's easy. What did I learn from last year? What habits robbed my time? What relationships drained my focus? Because if you don't evaluate your past, you'll duplicate it. My friend, you can't conquer what you won't confront. Some people pray for a new season while holding onto the old mindset that destroyed the last one. Change doesn't happen by calendar. It happens by conviction. This year, refuse to drift. Vision must become your compass. Without vision, life becomes a reaction instead of a direction. Don't just count the days. Make the days count. And listen, the discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. You can't pray your way into success while living a lazy life. Prayer brings revelation, but discipline brings transformation every day. God gives you 24 hours, a blank check of time. How you spend it determines what you harvest. Waste it, and you lose a piece of your destiny. Invest it, and you move closer to your purpose. So this year, stop saying someday. Someday is not on the calendar. All you have is today. And what you were today determines whether next year will be different from the last. Surround yourself with people who provoke your potential, not your comfort. Build systems that support your purpose, not your feelings. Don't live by emotion. Remember, by intention. The future belongs to those who prepare for it now. You are not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you. So, that's easy. As you stand on the edge of this new year, make a decision. You will not waste another year wandering. You will not bury your potential in procrastination. You will rise with vision, walk with discipline, and live with purpose. Because this year, this very year, can become the one where you finally move from existing to living, from talking to doing, from wishing to becoming. Don't waste this year like you wasted the last. Redeem your time. Fulfill your purpose. Leave a mark that time cannot erase. Purpose precedes time. Before time began, purpose already existed. Time was created to fulfill purpose, not the other way around. God never starts anything before finishing it in his mind. He decides the purpose first, then creates the time necessary to achieve it. That means you were not born to find something to do with your time. You were born to do something that required your time. Purpose gives meaning to every second you live. Without purpose, time becomes an enemy, not a gift. It passes, but it produces nothing. It moves, but it doesn't build. When you wake up without a sense of purpose, you begin to drift through days that look busy but accomplish nothing eternal. Business is not progress. It is often the camouflage of wasted time. When you understand that purpose precedes time, you stop living by the clock and start living by calling. You no longer measure life by how long you've lived, but by how well you've fulfilled why you live. Every minute then becomes a seed, and purpose tells you where to plant it. Purpose is what decides your priorities, disciplines your desires, and protects you from distractions. That's why people who lack purpose are always late in life. They run out of time because they never knew what their time was for. But those who discover purpose walk in divine timing. They don't chase opportunities. Opportunities chase them. They know that every day is a divine appointment with destiny. Time is a tool God gave to humanity's purpose on earth. That's easy. Once your purpose is fulfilled, your need for time ends. So if you are still alive, it means there is still an assignment within you that time is waiting for you to fulfill. Purpose gives you permission and direction to later use time wisely. When you know why you are here, you stop wasting years trying to become what others expect. Purpose frees you from comparison because it tells you exactly where your energy belongs. Every morning becomes meaningful, every effort intentional, and every season significant. So don't live by the ticking of the clock. Love by the timing of your purpose. Time doesn't define you, purpose does. Time serves those who know their purpose, but enslaves those who don't. Reflection before resolution. Before you make plans for the future, you must first understand the lessons of your past. Too many people rush into a new year with a list of resolutions, but without a moment of reflection. They change their calendars, but not their character. They set new goals without examining the old habits that kept them from the last ones. Without reflection, resolutions are just recycled intentions. That's easy. Reflection is the discipline of honesty. It requires you to pause and confront yourself, not to condemn, but to comprehend. You cannot correct what you refuse to confront, and you cannot confront what you refuse to acknowledge. Reflection exposes patterns, reveals weaknesses, and highlights progress. It shows you where you grew and where you merely moved. If you failed last year, reflection asks why. Was it a lack of clarity, consistency, or commitment? Did you sabotage your goals with distractions or excuses? Did you depend on emotion instead of discipline? Every failure has a root, and reflection digs deep enough to find it. Without that process, you will repeat what you should have replaced. Resolution without reflection creates repetition. It makes you live the same year multiple times, calling it growth when it's only motion. True growth begins when you learn from experience, not when you escape it. Reflection gives birth to wisdom, and wisdom produces better decisions. When you take time to reflect, you convert pain into power. You extract the lesson from every disappointment and use it as fuel for the next season. Reflection turns mistakes into mentors. That's easy. It turns setbacks into strategies. It's not about regret, it's about recalibration. Before you decide where you're going, you must understand why you're here. Reflection reorients your heart before your hands start building again. It ensures that your next resolution is not an emotional response, but a purposeful direction. It gives clarity to your vision and strength to your discipline. So, before you write your plans, pause and look back. Study your journey with humility. Ask yourself, what must I stop? What must I start? That's easy. And what must I strengthen? Then, when you rise to set your resolutions, they won't just be wishes, they will be wisdom in motion. The danger of routine failure is that it makes you comfortable with losing. When failure becomes familiar, it no longer bothers you. You begin to adjust to it, explain it. That's easy. Even justify it. You stop seeing failure as a temporary setback and start treating it as a normal pattern. That is dangerous, because whatever you tolerate eventually becomes your truth. Routine failure is not just about doing the wrong thing. It's about repeatedly doing nothing to change. That's easy. You fall into cycles of delay, distraction, and disappointment, convincing yourself that next time will be different, even though nothing about your mindset or method has changed. Time passes, years turn, but the results remain the same. The tragedy is not that you failed, but that you accepted failure as your lifestyle. When failure becomes routine, your expectations shrink. You stop aiming high because you're afraid of being disappointed again. You lower your standards to protect your feelings, and in doing so, you bury your potential. Mediocrity becomes your comfort zone, and you learn that's easy to survive in places you were meant to outgrow. The most dangerous thing about repeated failure is not the loss itself, but the dulling of your spirit. Each time you stop trying, something inside you stops believing. You begin to silence the voice of purpose and listen to the voice of excuse. Over time, you no longer need an enemy. You become your own opposition. To break the pattern, you must first recognize it. Ask yourself, what am I repeatedly failing at? What habits keep producing the same outcomes? What beliefs have I built around my failures that now define how I see myself? Until you identify the pattern, you will remain a prisoner of it. Failure in its rightful place is a teacher, but when it becomes a routine, it turns into a trap. It stops serving your growth and starts stealing your destiny. You must refuse to let repetition make you numb. Wake up your hunger again. Stir your desire for excellence. Decide that this time the pattern ends with you. Routine failure is broken not by emotion but by decision. You break it by changing your structure, your discipline, and your company. Don't normalize what was meant to alarm you. Let failure inform you, not define you. The moment you stop accepting routine failure, you start rewriting your future. Redeem the time. Time is the most precious currency heaven gives to earth, and yet it is the one most carelessly spent. Every day you wake up, you are handed 24 hours, an invisible account that cannot be saved, borrowed, or refunded. Once a moment passes, it is gone forever. That is why time must not only be used, it must be redeemed. To redeem time means to buy it back from things that steal it. It means to reclaim wasted moments, lost focus, and broken priorities. You cannot add more hours to a day, but you can add more value to the hours you have. Many people pray for more opportunities when what they truly need is better stewardship of the opportunities already given. Time is a gift given equally to all, but its results differ because of how people treat it. The successful are not given more time. They simply manage it with purpose. They know that time is a seed. When planted wisely, it multiplies. But when left idle, it produces weeds of regret. Every distraction, every delay, every unnecessary commitment is a thief of destiny. When you spend time on what doesn't matter, you rob your future of what could have been. Redeeming time begins with awareness. You must look honestly at how you live, how much of your day is invested in purpose, and how much is lost in comfort or entertainment. To redeem time, you must align your schedule with your assignment. Stop giving energy to what doesn't advance your vision. Every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. Focus converts ordinary moments into eternal impact. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. Time also means turning your past mistakes into wisdom. You may have wasted years, but reflection turns loss into lesson. The moment you learn the time is no longer wasted, it becomes redeemed. God specializes in restoring years that were lost, but He does it through people who are ready to manage the moments they have left. Remember, time is moving even when you are not. You can't pause it, but you can partner with it. Live deliberately. Speak intentionally. Work diligently. Every minute is a doorway to your destiny. Redeem the time before the time you have left can no longer be redeemed. Vision clarifies priorities. When you have a clear vision, confusion loses its power over you. Vision acts as an internal compass, guiding your choices and filtering your focus. It tells you what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Without vision, everything looks important, and when everything is important, nothing truly is. You end up busy but not productive, active but not advancing. Vision gives your life direction. It defines the path you walk and determines how you spend your time, energy, and resources. People without vision chase everything that glitters, but those with vision recognize that not every opportunity is an assignment. Vision teaches you to say no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. When you see where you are going, your priorities become obvious. You stop wasting time arguing about temporary things because you're focused on eternal ones. You stop competing with others because you understand your race is personal and your finish line is unique. Vision separates the essential from the unnecessary. It keeps you from scattering your strength across distractions that don't build your destiny. A clear vision also simplifies decision making. The question is no longer, can I do this? But does this move me closer to my purpose? Vision becomes a standard that filters your friendships, your commitments, and even your thoughts. It determines who you walk with, what you pursue, and where you invest yourself. Without vision, you will always be at the mercy of demands. People will decide your schedule, circumstances will direct your emotions, and opportunities will control your actions. But when vision governs your life, you lead instead of react. You understand that not every call needs to be answered, not every door needs to be opened, and not every invitation deserves your time. Vision is what keeps passion from turning into distraction. It keeps energy organized and dreams disciplined. It transforms effort into effectiveness. Many people have talent but lack direction, so their potential leaks through scattered focus. Vision gathers all your abilities under one purpose and gives them a target. When your vision is clear, your priorities align automatically. You no longer need to be pushed because you are pulled by purpose. You wake up knowing what to pursue and what to ignore. Vision gives peace in decision and power in action. It doesn't just show you the destination. It defines the path and determines what belongs on it. Discipline determines destiny. Talent can open doors, but only discipline keeps them open. Dreams can inspire you, but only discipline fulfills them. Discipline is the quiet force that turns potential into performance. ideas into impact, and intentions into results. It is the daily decision to do what must be done. Even when you don't feel like doing it, destiny is not reached by emotion, it is reached by consistency. Many people are inspired for a moment, but lack the endurance for a lifetime. They start strong, but stop early because excitement fades and comfort calls. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. It is what carries you through the seasons where passion is tested and progress seems invisible. Every destiny requires a structure to sustain it. That's easy. Discipline builds that structure. It trains your mind to obey your purpose instead of your feelings. It teaches you to choose what is right over what is easy. You cannot pray your way into success while living undisciplined. Prayer may reveal purpose, but discipline manifests it. Without discipline, even the best vision dies in delay. Discipline protects time, directs focus, and multiplies progress. It helps you manage your energy so that you can maximize your potential. It is the bridge between the promise and the proof. Every great achievement in history was built on small, consistent decisions that no one applauded but destiny noticed. Undisciplined people live by impulse, reacting to every distraction that comes their way. Disciplined people live by principle, guided by what matters most. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often not ternary, but self-control. That's easy. Your habits today are the architects of your future tomorrow. Discipline demands sacrifice, but the cost of indiscipline is far greater. One moment of compromise can delay years of progress. One unchecked habit can corrupt a lifetime of effort. That is why discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It guards your purpose from being sabotaged by your own inconsistency. Every destiny is built in private before it's revealed in public. Discipline is the work you do when no one is watching, the choices you make when no one is applauding, and the standards you hold when no one is reminding. That's easy. It is proof that you believe in your purpose enough to prepare for it. If you master your habits, you master your life. If you lose control of your habits, you lose direction in destiny. Discipline shapes character, and character sustains calling. Success is not an accident. It is the reward of disciplined living. That's easy. Your destiny is waiting, but it will only trust itself in the hands of a disciplined soul. Excuses are the enemies of growth. They are the soft lies that protect comfort and sabotage progress. Every excuse sounds reasonable to the one who makes it, but every excuse also becomes a brick in the wall that separates you from your potential. Excuses justify stagnation. They give permission to failure. The moment you begin to explain why you start convincing yourself that you shouldn't even try. Growth requires honesty. Excuses require denial. You cannot grow and lie to yourself at the same time. Excuses disguise fear as logic and laziness as limitation. They shift responsibility away so you can feel comfortable in your current state. But growth is never comfortable. It demands truth, accountability, and action. Until you stop making excuses, that's easy. You cannot start making progress. Excuses are deceptive because they often sound intelligent. They come wrapped in valid reasons, not enough time, not enough support, not enough resources. But history proves that people with less than you have done more than you. The difference is never opportunity, it is ownership. Growth begins the moment you take full ownership of your life and stop blaming circumstances for your lack of movement. Excuses create delay, and delay breeds decay. Every time you postpone action, you weaken your discipline and strengthen your doubt. You teach your mind that it's acceptable to ignore conviction. Over time, you stop believing in yourself because deep down, you know you're the one standing in your own way. Excuses may protect your pride for a moment, but they will destroy your destiny in the long run. Growth requires responsibility. It demands that you look at your results and admit, this is on me. It is humbling, but it is also empowering because the same person responsible for failure is also capable of change. When you stop making excuses, you reclaim your power. You move from being a victim of life to a steward of destiny. Excuses are comfortable companions for the undisciplined. They let you rest in regret instead of rising in resolve, but there is no progress without pain, no elevation without effort. The same energy you use to create an excuse could be used to create a solution. The difference is in perspective. One looks backward for reasons, the other looks forward for results. Every excuse delays the unveiling of who you were meant to become. The more you defend your limitations, the more you guarantee them. You cannot conquer what you keep excusing. Growth begins where excuses end. The day you stop explaining your failure is the day you start writing your future. Evaluate relationships and environments. The people around you and the atmosphere you live in are silent forces shaping your destiny every day. You can't rise higher than the environment that surrounds you or the voices that influence you. Relationships and environments are like soil. They either nourish your growth or suffocate it. No seed, no matter how gifted, can thrive in toxic ground. Every connection carries a direction. The company you keep determines the conversations you hear, and the conversations you hear determine the mindset you develop. If you spend your time around people who complain, criticize, or settle for mediocrity, their attitude will infect your vision. But if you walk with those who inspire, challenge, and stretch you, their fire will ignite your potential. Growth is contagious, but so is decay. Evaluating relationships doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means you stop letting everyone lead you. Some relationships are seasonal, some are situational, and a few are covenantal. Wisdom knows the difference. When you try to keep everyone in your life forever, you end up carrying weights you were never meant to bear. The wrong people drain what the right people multiply. You need relationships that sharpen your purpose, not dull your passion. Environments too speak. They speak through culture, habits, energy, and expectation. A chaotic environment produces a distracted mind. A negative environment produces a fearful heart. You cannot maintain clarity in confusion or focus in noise. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is to change your surroundings, to step out of familiar so your spirit can breathe again. Evaluate what you expose yourself to daily. What do you watch, listen to, read, and absorb? Every influence is shaping either your potential or your excuses. Protect your atmosphere as fiercely as you protect your dream. If you want to grow, build environments that align with your values. Feed your discipline and support your peace. Many destinies have died not from lack of talent, but from wrong associations. The people closest to you are either ladders or cages. They will either lift you or lock you in place. When you are serious about destiny, you start choosing company by purpose, not by comfort. So look closely at your circle and your space. Ask yourself, do they reflect where I'm going or where I've been? Do they challenge my potential or comfort my weakness? Growth requires pruning. Not everyone can walk with you into your next level, and that's okay. Because destiny never blooms in every garden, only in the one prepared for its purpose. Build systems, not wishes. Wishing is emotional, building is intentional. Many people dream of success, pray for change, and talk about vision, yet remain stuck because they have no structures to sustain what they desire. Hope is powerful, but without a system, it fades into frustration. A wish depends on chance. A system depends on discipline. Destiny doesn't respond to dreams alone. It responds to design. A system is a consistent pattern that produces predictable results. It turns good intentions into measurable actions. That's easy. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. You can have the right vision and still fail if your habits and routines do not support it. Goal tells you what you want. A system tells you how to get there. People often say they are waiting for a breakthrough, but many breakthroughs are simply the fruit of consistent systems. You can't expect excellence from random effort. What you do occasionally will never compete with what others do consistently. Systems are the silent engines of success. They work even when you don't feel inspired. Building systems requires clarity. That's easy. You must translate your vision into daily practices, schedules, and disciplines. If you want to grow spiritually, create a rhythm of prayer and study. If you want to build wealth, design a plan for earning, saving, and investing. If you want to improve your health, structure your meals and movement. Systems make discipline automatic, and automation preserves energy for creativity. Wishes depend on emotion, and emotions change with circumstances. Systems are rooted in principles, and principles remain steady regardless of feelings. When storms come, a system stands. It doesn't rely on motivation, it relies on order. This is why some people keep advancing quietly while others talk loudly about what they hope to do someday. A system is also an act of faith. It says, that's easy. I believe in my future enough to prepare for it. Building one means you take responsibility for results instead of waiting for miracles to replace effort. Miracles favor the prepared. Without structure, even blessings can become burdens. What God gives must have somewhere to land, and systems create that landing place.